Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am so excited to show you this batch of rocks. This is by far the best batch that I've ever tumbled. So you'll probably want to stick around to the end of the video because just about every rock in here is pretty interesting. So let's get right into it. Start with this big one. This is the biggest rock I've ever tumbled. I have no idea what it is. I would guess some type of quartz, but it's so cool. It's got so many different colors in it. And the lines going through it are just so beautiful, and it took a really nice shine. And here's what it looked like before. So quite a difference. This is a tube agate, and you can see it obviously has some pitting all around it, and that's because when a tube agate forms, it forms around thin mineral rods, and if those rods are softer, they'll wear away, and so you're left with little holes throughout the rock, but it's still really pretty, especially on this side. And this was found in my last creek hunt of the season video. Here's another agate. This one's just so cool because you can see down into it quite a ways. And it's not the usual kind of crackly quartz. And it also has a big crystal impression on the back, and so that didn't tumble. But the rest of it did. Another agate. This one's a fragmented membrane agate, and I found this one this summer at a boat landing. And it has a crystal impression there. And another one there. And the fragmented membranes didn't take a super nice shine, but I was kind of expecting that. And it's still really pretty. I love how you can see the lines all around it. This one's got your more typical crackly quartz too. Here's another agate. This one's really weird. Look at those patterns on the back and that green color. This is the batch of weird and interesting agates. Here's another kind of weird agate. And it's weird because the lines just aren't very well defined in it. Like some spots, like more down here, the bands are really well defined, and like on the back here. But then you get up here, and they're not as well defined. And this one's been tumbling off and on since this summer, so it's been in the tumbler for a while. And another weird agate. This one looks like it has a giant hole in it, but as you can see by the shine, it's actually, I'm not sure what it is really. It looks like a crystal almost, but I'm not sure how that happened. But it's very angular, and it actually meets in a point in the center. Just a weird little guy. This is probably the most normal agate of the batch, and the lines on it are just beautiful. I love how you can see like way down in on this outer band here. Another interesting agate. And I'm not sure if this yellow quartz is just stained, or there is actually a variety of yellow quartz. And I'll put the name up, because I can't remember it offhand. And there's just a little bit of chalcedony over here. But I like the way the crackly quartz looks. And then this was from my Michigan trip, and it was like one of the only agates that I found. And I'm still not entirely sure that it's an agate, but I'm pretty sure it is. And it's weird because this stuff is, you can kind of see down into it, but it's also got these red sort of streaks all around it. So again, not sure what's up with this one, or whether or not it's actually an agate. And I think that does it for agates, unless you count. This is a jasp agate. Like I said, it's a really cool batch. This one might be my favorite rock I love from this batch. I just love the banded iron formations. You can see the yellow of my shirt there in the reflection. And I was not really expecting this one to turn out. Sometimes on these, the metallic part likes to undercut. But this one took a really, really nice shine, so I'm really happy with that. Here's a more traditional banded iron formation. I'm not sure if this one is Mary Ellen Jasper, or if it's just a banded iron formation with some kind of swirly patterns in it. But this one's cool too. This one has some metallic parts in it. And again, I'm surprised it didn't undercut, because a lot of times Mary Ellen Jasper does undercut, and then a lot of times the metallic parts undercut too. Here's another one that I'm not sure if it's Mary Ellen Jasper or not. It's just got so many colors in it. It's got reddish brown on top, blue, green, yellow. There's some silver. Just crazy how many different colors there are in this. And it's cool because I don't find too many blue or green rocks around here. So it's fun to find one that has both. No idea what this one is. I've got a few that are kind of like it. Parts of it almost look brushiated, so that's when the original rock breaks apart and then gets cemented together with other rock. Then, like right there, that looks like agate banding. So maybe this is a jasp agate or maybe a purple moss agate or something. Either way, it's really, really pretty. This one's definitely Mary Ellen Jasper. This is probably one of the best pieces of it that I found too. And this one's really cool because it's kind of see-through a little bit. In certain parts you can see down into it. Right above my thumb there. Another piece of Mary Ellen Jasper. This one, you kind of see how it has all the pits all over it, especially like on this side here. This is usually what happens. It's kind of a frustrating rock to tumble, but when it turns out, it's really cool. Probably interested in these. These are crazy lace agates. These were given to me by Rob while I was in Michigan. I love this one. This one's so cool. I love those angular bands. There's just so many patterns on here. You could look at this rock for an hour and still not get bored. Here's another one. Just unreal. This one I thought was just a regular piece of quartz, but look at that. It's actually got just some slight purple to it. So this is actually amethyst. And that was really exciting, pulling that out of the tumbler and realizing that I had actually found a piece of amethyst. It's kind of cool how the fractures in there are kind of iridescent. Like I said, really neat batch. Oh, here's another crazy lace agate. There's so much variety in them. Another banded iron formation. This is a really cool rock. Not sure if it's I'm not sure if it's a jasp agate or just a really weird regular Lake Superior agate. Just such an interesting rock. This little guy was from my trip in Michigan. And I think it's a little piece of prehnite. But I love how it's chatoyant like that. And that was not chatoyant when I found it on the beach. This is probably one of the rocks that it still turned out pretty good, but didn't turn out as good as I was hoping. You can see when I get the glare on there, all the little pits and stuff. There's a big crack right there, or a big pit. And along the backside there's a bunch. But it's still an interesting rock. I think it's some type of jasper, but I'm not sure because it doesn't really look like the jasper that I find around here. I think this one was also from the Michigan trip. And this one too. This one's interesting because it didn't really turn out especially great. You can see like all the little pits all around it. So I was kind of surprised by that. I was expecting this one to turn out a little bit better, but it's still cool. It's got a big letter X in it. Here's a piece of banded chert. Not as neat as the Eggettes, but still pretty cool, and it shines up really nice. And here's another piece. I thought maybe this one was going to end up being a waterline agate, but it was not. I think this is another brecciated rock. It's interesting, it's got like little sparkles. That's the best way to describe it in there. Really clear little piece of quartz. Usually when I find them, they look more like that piece of amethyst. So it's always fun to find some that have been spared by the glaciers. Here's this one looks like a piece of quartz, but it's hard to see, but there's actually some really fine banding in there. Like there. It's really faint, but you can there's definitely bands in there. So I think this one is like a really clear agate. Like I said, batch of weird Lake Superior agates. I have no idea what this green rock is, but it's really pretty. Another really clear piece of quartz. Not really sure what this is. I find quite a few of rocks that are kind of like this, where they're almost like Montana moss agates. Here's a couple more. That one's really neat. That almost looks like a feather in there. Maybe a pine tree or something. And these are all found, I find these right in central Minnesota, but I don't know what they are. This one I don't believe was found here. I think this one was found in Michigan. It's kind of got a weird surface to it, so it shined up really nice, but I don't know how that happened, why it has that texture to it. But it's an interesting, pretty rock. That one's kind of boring. It's hard to compete with the other rocks, though. I think this is another one of those mystery, mossy looking, I don't know if it's chalcedony, if it's an actual agate, or what it is. This one's pretty cool. One with a lot of stripes. I think these are flint or chert. I don't seem to find them much bigger than that, though. This is oolitic jasper, I believe. And a different piece of oolitic jasper. It's amazing how much variety the jasper around here has. Not really sure what this is. This one kind of looks like Mary Ellen. Another interesting piece of jasper. I think this one got bruised a little bit in the tumbler, which I'm kind of surprised because I had it pretty full. I was actually worried it was going to be too full and not polish well. A little tiny piece of Marielle and Jasper. Lots of these Jaspers with the, maybe they're brushiated. I just like saying brushiated. They're interesting though. Not really sure what that is. Alright, well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.